What up, RunnerTube? It's yo person, Komodo, coming at you with some fresh content for your netrunning algo. It's no secret that I aspire to be a netrunner influencer and content creator, that my ego will not, nay, cannot rest until I stand shoulder to shoulder with such titans as low power light fixtures, someone's herbaceous plants, and metropolitan arrays. I will climb the greasy content pole until I too can be on a podcast where my bad takes generate arguments that invoke Discord slow mode, fracture testing groups, and inspire people to bring bad decks to tournaments. To achieve this goal, I've put into motion a 9-step plan. I've got to step 5, which means it's time for the mandatory tier list. Naturally, we're ranking the most important set of Netrunner cards. The ones with reptiles on. Before we start, let's clear up some rules. 1. Standard only. I'm too young and attractive to experience the FFG cards that older, out-of-touch generations keep talking about. 2. Objects depicting reptiles count. I'm including every depiction of a reptile here, not just the cards featuring the real or NetSpace ones. This means drawings, toys, jewelry. If it's in the shape of a reptile, it counts. 3. Birds are not reptiles. I know what the taxonomists say, and I say I'll fight all of them. Birds don't count. 4. Keiko. Not a reptile. Look, I know she's a dragon, and dragons are almost always reptiles, but I'm sorry, this one just isn't. There's no reptile features, no scales, frankly, disturbingly mammalian proportions. It's like a furless persona, it's creepy. And if you look at her from a purely taxonomical perspective, with respect to common features, potential lineage, views cladistic diagnostic tools, she's clearly a fish. Let's begin. Starting with the back. Did you remember this cardigan existed? I did, because it has a dinosaur on it. It's kind of depressing to know that even in the future, dinosaurs aren't safe from bad paleo art. Has a cereal company read a single piece of paleontological literature? It's doubtful. If they had, they'd know T-Rex was 1. Incapable of sticking out its tongue, 2. Possessed lips, and 3. Certainly did not eat cereal. Bad T-Rex, bad card, D tier. Next up, Cloud Eater. This is a wonderful depiction of a green anaconda, one of the largest and, dare I say it, prettiest snakes in the world. Like, girl, teach me how to do eyeshadow like that. Also, one of the few snakes that could plausibly eat humans, though there's no recorded examples of this happening. It ranges in South America, and like most dangerous reptiles, is invasive in Florida. It's another example of NSG's very cool practice of taking card art inspiration specifically from the local region a set is based in. Something I assume they probably do with non-reptile cards too, but I've not noticed that. I love a nasty taste check. I love a big snake, and this is some gorgeous art. Genuinely one of my favourites in the game. It's a crime we don't have a full art version, or a playmat. I've been good. I deserve one. NSG, please give one to me. S tier. GameNet. Look closely and you'll see there's some dragons here. I'm sure the dragons are good dragons, but a severe oversight has left them deep in the background of a card that I never want to play. D tier. The Boi-tatá. A great flaming snake from Brazilian folklore. It's said to blind and destroy any who threatened harm to the forest. The art has clearly been modelled on an emerald tree boa, which, like Cloud Eater, is native to the Liberation Cycle's South American settings. It has some of the largest teeth proportional to its size of any non-venomous snake. Just look at them. Despite that, it's a relatively small species and poses very little threat to humans. Not to mention, named for its bright green coloration, so it doesn't exactly scream fire snake. It's an odd choice for a legendary spirit. In some stories, the Boi-tatá was originally an anaconda, like Cloud Eater, before she was reborn into this protective spirit. That'd certainly have been the obvious choice, or perhaps one of the many venomous pit vipers endemic to the area, like a fer-de-lance or the jararaca, which are more likely to interact with humans and responsible for a majority of snake bites in the region. But I'm in love with this depiction. The emerald tree boa has a particularly imposing countenance among snakes. There's something almost monstrous about those jaws. They're spectacular. And while adults are indeed bright green, juvenile emerald tree boas have a bright, fiery red coloration, perfectly suited to the spirit of flaming jungle vengeance. I love this card. It's just an excellent reptile, it's excellent narrative. Yeah, its numbers make it kind of entirely unplayable, but this is a reptile tier list. A tier. Largo. The only card depicting real, living reptiles, not a depiction or a net space entity. 2 whole snakes. Unfortunately, there's just not enough detail to positively identify their species. The green one's probably a python of some description. You can tell by the heat bits on the head. I can't identify the blue one. There is a certain hognose-esque quality to the head, but I'm unaware of any hognose species that grows to this size or has a blue coloration. This is the representation we get. To be frank, this is a reptile tokenism. This vet needs you to know they're woke and progressive, and it's the year 22XX. Of course the reptiles can have treatment. And yet I note the snakes don't have any cybernetic implants like everyone else. Perhaps a service only for the traditionally cute animals. Typical. Also, you generally shouldn't cohabit snakes or keep them near each other like this, especially different species. It's just bad husbandry and potentially dangerous to the snakes. The Largo Paranoa shelter should know better. Despite this, Largo is a fun card. Some would say a staple of certain archetypes and a perfect example of Anarch design principles. I kind of really enjoy the way the Corp has some degree of control over when it fires. It's powerful, it's evocative, it presents interesting decisions to both players, which, though it might be mildly offensive, this is a Netrunner card tier list, and this is a good card, so it's grudgingly going into A tier. Bowak. Where do I even start with Bowak? He's a good lizard. S tier. Ganked. I have a reputation with this card. I love it. I was playing it in Jinteki Glacier before it was meta. It is an extremely fun card, for me, the Corp, and it features quite rare for the game reptile synergy. If you combine it with Cloud Eater and Bowak, that's the best results. So, why is this card that I like, that has a big reptile on it, going straight to D tier? Look, there's no such thing as a bad reptile, but there are bad depictions, and this, I like it conceptually. Big reptile looks at tiny runner, that's good stuff. But the compositing, the generic scale pattern, the slit pupil, it all just feels a bit, I don't know, uninspired. It screams, we have Bowak at home. It just doesn't work for me. Fun card, disappointing reptile. D. Chrysopoeian skimming. I like this card. It's fun, it does a neat thing, it's a solid one-off in a Mercury deck. It won me 2 games at a recent megacity, and you were all wrong to tell me to cut it. It's also a snake. Flavour-wise, it's a reference to an ancient alchemical manuscript that prominently featured an Ouroboros, the symbol of a snake eating its own tail. Something snakes have been found to do, both in nature and in captivity. It's usually considered either a stress response or snakes simply being very greedy and not particularly smart. All reasons you might play this card. Is this card good? No. Is it good reptile representation? Also no. But I like it, and damn it, I want this bracelet. It'll look hot on me. B tier. Non-equivalent exchange. This card is one of the best depictions of the horrific dystopia that is Netrunner. I mean, look at it. Look at the corporate horrors that are being inflicted on this child. It's genuinely very uncomfortable. That's right. The only reptile plush available for sale in this toy shop is a cartoonish sauropod. Objectively, one of the worst, most boring clades of dinosaur. Have you ever met someone worth knowing whose favourite dinosaur is a Brachiosaurus? Of course you haven't. I've seen the occasional complaints that NSG's world is tonally lighter, fluffier, not quite as grim or gritty as the FFG cards. I can't think of a better counterpoint than non-equivalent exchange. Chaos Theory may have been a child of divorce, but at least she got a plush T-Rex. This card offends me on every level. It's a bad reptile. It's got depressing lore. It's MBN. Ugh. But it's a 2-cost click for 5 credits of an acceptable downside. Pretty decent card. Plus, I like depressing lore. A tier. Daniela. Well, she has merely decent taste in plushies. I mean, of all the options available, she has a Tattoo Bowler plush. Like, I love Tattoo, but there's better eyes to get a plush of. She does, however, have an excellent snake tattoo. Combine this with a jacket I need and cool hair, and Daniela is on a one-way trip to B tier. Lycian multi-munition. A little known fact about me is that I have more than one special interest. I know it's hard to imagine. See, I also rather like aircraft, so when you tell me that there is a Netrunner card that features a fighter jet launching a missile that is also a snake, well, that's S tier material right there. Beautiful, gorgeous, no notes. And then you show me the card. And it's just so much wasted potential. It's just kind of ugly. The snake is generically unrecognizable. It doesn't much look like any real snake and isn't imposing in the way a fantasy species could be. And it's second fiddle to 2 rubbish mammals. And the plane is kinda cool, but only kinda. The snake isn't even a Sidewinder, come on! How could you miss that? The pun is right there. Until the day NSG makes an alt of this card featuring missile puns, more snakes, and a cooler looking plane, this one's in C tier. Saved solely by an excellent concept. Madani. It's not the focus, but there is a cute little lizard in this one. He's just a little guy. I'd keep him on my desk. Plus, Madani's a pretty fun card. B tier. Kancil. Tomistoma. This card has Tomistomers. They're also known as false Gharials on account of looking like Gharials but not being Gharials. But Tomistoma is just a much more fun word to say. As you may guess from this being an elevation card, Tomistoma is native to Malaysia. They're one of my favourite crocodilians, easily recognisable by their thin jaws. They're also adorable. They just look so smug, like they're laughing at you, specifically. It's an excellent attitude. On most crocodilians, the thin snout would imply they're primarily fish eaters, but Tomistoma is actually a generalist, eating anything they can plausibly catch, on land or in water. The fin snout can thus be assumed to primarily be a fashion choice. The card itself is a reference to a Malaysian fable, in which Sang Kancil, that's the mouse deer here, in search of a way to cross a great river, promises a group of crocodiles that should they line up and let him count them, they'll receive a great reward. The crocodiles acquiesce, lining up from one side of the river to the other. Sang Kancil then jumps on each one's head in turn. As he does so, he sings a taunting song, because he's a little shit. He reaches the other side of the river. The promised reward is never given, and the crocodiles, tricked, are left to go hungry. It's a tragic tale, but very cool to see aspects of local fables imported into net space like this. Also, interesting to choose Tomistoma over the more imposing and recognisable saltwater crocodile, which is also native to the region. I love NSG's trend of highlighting lesser-known local species like this. I hope it continues in future sets. Tier-wise, despite being my favourite decoder in the game and featuring my favourite crocodilian, the card sadly focuses on the smarmy prick Sang Kancil, whose smarm and prickishness reminds me a bit too much of a figure of British mythology, James Bond, who also pulled a similar crocodile stunt, so it's going in C tier. Baz. Of course Baz has a shitty generic dragon tattoo. He is exactly the guy who walks into the tattoo studio and picks the first option he sees. Probably got on a stag do to impress his mates. Thinks it makes him look well-hard. What a cunt. Fun ability though, so B tier. Tranquilizer. The only reptile in System Gateway. I love this art. Even though I can't identify the specific species, I can tell it's a good one. I mean, just look at him. Look how good he is. It's just a sleepy snake. I kind of just love this card in general. Derezzing ice is one of my favourite things to do out of Crim, and Tranquilizer is just a very fun way of doing that. Unfortunately, even within the jankiest brews, it's simply just not very good. As much as it pains me, it's got to go in D tier. Unleash. This diamondback rattlesnake bought the fancy glowing cosmetics. Firstly, absolutely gorgeous art as usual from Katchan. I mean, who doesn't want to manifest and fire a gigantic rattlesnake out of their chest? That's goals, to be honest. This is the absolute peak of reptile card design, bringing to the game much needed reptile synergies. It not only gives you a free reptile, that reptile then gets to eat the runner. It's glorious. The snake on the card is implied by the mechanics to be a piece of ice, but there is no diamondback rattlesnake in the card pool. Is this a clue that Piggybank may feature a diamondback rattlesnake ice? We can only hope. If you'd rather your Unleash feature art of playable ice, thanks to AMS and Brindlemold, there's some truly excellent alt arts available, featuring everyone's favourite Unleash targets. This is S tier, how could it not be? And there we have it. The first Netrunner Reptile tier list. The first truly objective Netrunner tier list, and the first Netrunner tier list ever to clock in underneath 20 minutes. Thoughts? Comments? Let me know. Want to see more of this kind of content in the future? Petition NSG for more reptile cards. Disagree? You're wrong, and you'll only embarrass yourself by sharing, so please share. It'll give me a laugh. Obviously, the meta is constantly shifting and changing, so I will probably make another of these in 3 months, just to see how much Cons and Worlds has affected the reptile rankings. Big thanks to everyone in QTM and coolmapsgames.com. Without your support, I'd never have gotten around to making silly videos like this.